Welcome to Magdala, an ancient city shrouded in mystery and home to one of the most intriguing figures in history, Mary Magdalene. In this video, we will take you on a journey through time as we explore the captivating ruins of Magdala and unveil the secrets of this remarkable place. Over 19,000 years ago, a flash flood covered the land below Mount Orville with dirt and silt, burying Magdala and preserving it as a hidden treasure. It was not until 2009, during the construction of a hotel, that Magdala began to reveal its ancient secrets. Archaeologists made astonishing discoveries, uncovering evidence of a thriving Jewish community. Coins excavated in the synagogue date between 5 and 63 AD. A coin minted in 29 AD leaves the impression of Jesus' teaching in the synagogues during his public life. As we explore the synagogue, the intricate mosaics transport us back in time, revealing the vibrant culture and religious life that once thrived here. It was in Magdala that Jesus taught in the synagogue and performed miraculous healings. One of the most notable accounts is that of a woman who made her hometown famous, Mary Magdalene. Her story is entwined with the fabric of Magdala's history. Inside the synagogue, we find a small room adorned with mosaics believed to be the place where Torah scrolls were stored. And in the center of the synagogue stands the unique Magdala stone, a captivating artifact that bears witness to the rich heritage of this place. Magdala's strategic location on the shores of the Sea of Galilee made it a significant trade hub along the route from Nazareth to Capernaum. This bustling fishing village witnessed the arrival of the Romans in Galilee in 67 AD, forever leaving its mark on the town. Archaeologists uncovered an ancient marketplace and a separate area of rooms with adjacent water pools, probably used for producing the salty, cured fish for which Magdala was famous. It's a fisherman's neighborhood, scattered with ancient hooks and other equipment, and a section of a first-century harbor. Further exploration led to the discovery of a grand villa with exquisite mosaics and 3 ritual baths, likely the residence of a high priest. These remarkable findings provide insights into the social and religious life of Magdala's elite. After visiting the ruins, we walk around to the Duc in Altrum church. It's a Latin phrase meaning cast into the deep. Luke 5:4 says, after a long night of fishing and catching nothing, Jesus instructs Simon, put out into the deep water and lower your nets for a catch. The design of the church, with the boat as an altar, lets us really experience Jesus on the Sea of Galilee. Jesus used to preach to the crowds from Peter's boat. Looking out past the altar at the Magdala Center, one can see the calm waters of the Sea of Galilee. When you enter the church, you enter the women's atrium, a tribute to the women who loved God and lived by faith. Its 8 pillars represent women from the Bible who followed Jesus, while the 8th pillar honors women of faith throughout history. The public life of Jesus mosaic chapels in the church represent events from the public life of Jesus around the Sea of Galilee. The first chapel, facing the lake, is the Walking on Water chapel, representing the story in Matthew where Peter's faith was tested by walking on water with Jesus. Matthew 14, verses 29 through 31. The second chapel, facing the lake, is the Fishers of Men chapel, representing another story in Matthew where Jesus calls his first disciples. Matthew 4, verses 18 to 20. In the chapels looking toward the town of Magdala and Mount Orville, The mosaics reflect the other central theme of Magdala, women. One of these chapels is, of course, the Mary Magdalene Chapel, where we remember the story in Luke of Jesus casting out demons. Luke 8, verses 1 to 2. The other is dedicated to the daughter of Jairus. This holds great significance because she was the only woman whom Jesus raised from the dead. Mark 5, verses 41 to 42. After visiting these chapels in the church, we head downstairs to the Encounter Chapel. It is dedicated to Jesus' encounter with all of us, as illustrated by the large painting titled Encounter in the back of the chapel, Mark 5, verses 25 to 34. When Jesus had again crossed over by boat to the other side of the lake, a large crowd gathered around him while he was by the lake, and a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors, and had spent all she had. Yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak, because she thought, "If I just touch his clothes, I will be healed." Immediately, her bleeding stopped, and she felt in her body that she was freed from her suffering. And Jesus, perceiving in him that power had gone out from him, immediately turned about in the crowd and said, "Who touched my garments?" And his disciples said to him, "You see this crowd pressing around you, and yet you say, 'Who touched me?'" And he looked around to see who had done it. But the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came in fear and trembling, and fell down before him, and told him the whole truth. And he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace, and be healed of your disease." As we went downstairs, I was in the back of the crowd, and as we entered the room, I saw everybody's head, and beyond that, I saw this painting. And when I saw all of the feet in the painting, I got the message. Here, now, in this room, tell the group. We all went inside, and Jeff, our group leader, talked to us about his experience in the room on his previous trip. Then he introduced Becky, the female pastor in the group, and had her tell her story. After her story, Jeff got up again and started to introduce Melinda to lead us in a song. The whole time we were in the room, I had a screaming in my head, "Speak up, speak up." I kept saying I will, but there were people talking. Before Jeff introduced Melinda, I spoke up. "Jeff, can I say something?" I went forward and I told my story. I'd had pain in my ankles from a birth defect affecting both ankles. I'd had multiple surgeries. The arthritis in my left ankle jumped to a different joint and was causing more pain. But I had decided not to continue having surgeries. I was just doing pain management. I told the group of the conversations I had earlier in the day and my experience upon seeing the painting. Then I asked to be anointed. Jeff asked Becky to say the prayer, and he put oil on my head. The group came around and laid hands on me. I had limped into the church and walked out. I was able to enjoy the rest of the week and did not need to sit on the bus and miss any tours. I was not in pain when I got back to my room at the end of the day. We did a lot of walking. I wore out my shoes. When I returned home, the chiropractor didn't need to adjust my feet. He always has to adjust my feet. When I returned a month later, I still didn't need my feet adjusted. Jesus was true to his word and healed me of my birth defect. Jesus is alive and still performing miracles today. This is the gospel that we need to be sharing, not just the stories from 2,000 years ago. Those stories were told to the people of that time, for that time. What is your gospel story? Share it today. After I was healed, we sang a song Then we went to a museum on the Sea of Galilee, and there we saw the ancient Galilee Boat, which was found by two fishermen, Moesh and Yuval Lufin. The brothers were keen amateur archaeologists, always on the lookout for artifacts from Israel's past. They always hoped to discover a boat in the Sea of Galilee, where they and generations of their family had fished. When drought reduced the water level of the lake, the two brothers examined the newly exposed beach and stumbled across the remains of the boat buried in the shore. The brothers reported their discovery to the authorities. The team realized that the remains of the boat were tremendous historical importance to Jews and Christians alike, and so an archaeological dig followed. Rumors spread that the boat was full of gold and the dig had to be guarded night and day. Excavating the boat from the mud without damaging it quickly enough to extract it before the water rose again was a difficult process, which lasted 12 days and nights. The ancient wood was extremely fragile when exposed to the atmosphere, and the boat had to be rescued from the place it was found by wrapping it in a mantle of fiberglass and insulating foam, which helped with both keeping it together and floating it to its new location. It was then submerged in a wax bath for 12 years, which protected the boat before it could be displayed at the Galilee Boat Museum in Kibbutz Gennesaret. The ancient Galilee Boat, also known as the Jesus Boat, is an ancient fishing boat from the 1st century AD, discovered in 1986 in the northwest shore of the Sea of Galilee in Israel. The remains of the boat, 27 feet long, 7.5 feet wide, and with a maximum preserved height of 4.3 feet. Other than the dating, there is no evidence connecting the boat to Jesus or his disciples. The boat has been dated to 40 BC based on radiocarbon dating, and 50 BC to 50 AD based on pottery, including a cooking pot and lamp and nails found in the boat, as well as whole construction techniques. The evidence of repeated repairs shows that the boat was in use for several decades, perhaps nearly a century. After immersing ourselves in the remarkable story of the ancient Galilee boat, we embarked on a boat ride across the tranquil waters of the Sea of Galilee. In this serene setting, we had the opportunity to partake in communion. We experienced the sea just as Jesus and his disciples did. We rode on the Noah. A couple of weeks earlier, a storm swept through and destroyed 3 of the 5 boats of the company. The Noah even had noticeable damage. The Sea of Galilee is below sea level with mountains surrounding it, creating incredible winds still today. It was easy to see how the disciples would have been scared during the storm that they experienced. Our adventure didn't end there. We journeyed to the place where the Jordan River converges with the Sea of Galilee. It was here that several individuals chose to be rebaptized, symbolizing their renewed dedication to Jesus and their faith. What an incredible day of exploration and spiritual connection here in the land of miracles. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and consider supporting me on Patreon. Your support helps me continue my mission of sharing the life and love of Jesus. Remember to hit the like button and leave a comment below sharing your thoughts and experiences. Thank you for joining us on this incredible adventure in Magdala and the Sea of Galilee.